posted this a year ago on entitled Bitch and figured I'll post it here to a year later. More than 10 years ago when I started my apprenticeship, I joined this restaurant. I have no idea how anything goes. I've only been a kitchen hand for a year at 2 other venues, but this place I started working at was completely different on how things were run. My boss, head chef, at the time was a real laid-back and easygoing person. He always tries to avoid conflicts or arguments with employees and customers or diffuse it quickly as possible. Now he only worked there for a year before I joined. The general manager, front of house, not kitchen, worked there the longest for 5 years. She used to be her until she got promoted at 6 months in after my boss joined. Apparently she used to be cool, but soon after she got to be gum she became a living nightmare to work with, while the owner just ignored her and only has kept her cause she's been there the longest and she knows how to run the restaurant, except the kitchen. So this gives the owner lots of time to go on vacation and deal with other venues he owns. Let's call my boss, Chilled Boss, and the gum toxic. There's 4 other people in this story. The sous chef who's second in charge of the kitchen, well, call him Junior. 3 front of the house servers, let's just say Alpha, Beta and Copper. Now from the first day Toxic kept making do jobs which isn't part of my workload, but I didn't know better, and when Junior found out, he told me to stop and took me to have a quick meeting with Chilled Boss to tell me that whenever Toxic asks me to do anything to make sure to say, can you just double check with the head chef, cause he has me doing other jobs which are more important and it isn't really part of my job, just so she can get off my back. It lasted for 3 days before she went back at it. I'm the type to give people benefit of a doubt, but they told me stories just in the 6 months she got promoted. She has made 2 employees have a mental breakdown and quit fired. The new hire used to be her best friend at work until she realized how crazy she really is and don't speak. She forced Alpha to work on his family member's funeral cause she thinks that's not a good enough excuses to not work the weekend. Other managers hate her, but since she's in charge we all keep our mouth shut. Apparently they tried before to talk to the owner about her, and during that time she had a freak out cause she felt everyone was attacking her, and so they dropped it, gave her 2 weeks off paid so she doesn't sue. Owner was going through a divorce or something, so he didn't want this on his plate. After 3 painful months of working there, me, Junior, Beta and Copper all got pretty close, and we hang out after work to have a few drinks. We get to free house alcoholic drinks after work. Now for some reason Toxic was getting mad at us and told us that anyone from the kitchen had to pay. Junior and Copper kept asking why, and instead cause the kitchen and bartenders, Copper's section, are on different payrolls than the servers. Junior said if this is the case then we don't need to do jobs for you every now, and then she flipped out saying Shastagam and her word is law. Yes, she did say that. Now Junior said Shastagam of the kitchen and that Chilled Boss is in charge as mails the choices from staff hiring, food ordering, menus and such, cause the owner trusts Chilled Boss. She refuses to listen and fires Junior saying he's stealing and other baseless grounds. He smiles and walks off. Copper texts Chilled Boss straight away about it, and I just walked out of the venue hoping he really isn't fired, cause I would have sat up by myself in the morning. Next day, got to work in the morning and Chilled Boss is in, which I was glad but also remembered it was his day off. He is on the phone with the owner, Copper and her are standing next to him. He was on the phone trying to convince the owner to make them undo her decision and convince Junior to come back. Owner said he'll talk to her but he highly doubts it. After the phone call, Hra says I can't believe someone had the balls to ask her to marry her. We all left expect Chilled Boss. He thought of something. He told us to keep our heads down, be nice to Toxic from now on and don't set her off for a long while. We looked confused and went on with our day. In the afternoon, he made a cupcake which was kinda confusing cause I thought he was making a whole batch with the amount of ingredients he used, but he made one. He walked over to Toxic and said this here is a truce. Let's hope we can be friends, she replies. Whatever. She snatches it and eats it. Then she finishes her shift and went home. Copper comes over and asks why Chilled Boss is he being nice. Chilled Boss tells us that Hra told him her wedding is in 8 months. She already got her dress fitted. Mind you, Toxic body type was fit but she had thick thighs and ass, and he plans to give her food every day with extra fat, sugar, salt, oil, whatever that makes you gain weight, you name it. 34 times a week he would make special batches of food for her and she never noticed. This went on for months until she started stressing out at work. By this time Toxic has opened up a bit to Chilled Boss, not knowing what he was doing. She said she can't fit in some of her clothes anymore cause she went a sizes up and her wedding is approaching. He told her for the next few months he'll only make her healthy food if she wanted. She got offended at Chillid Boss for implying she has fat even though she said she went up to sizes. After Chillid Boss calmed her down, she argued. Another 2 months, her weight was the same. It didn't go down and now she started to freak out even more and started crying randomly at work. Chillid Boss stopped giving her special foods and started to give her proper healthy foods. She asked why it tastes different and he would say different recipe or it's made for vegans. No lie there but she stopped exercising and just started to eat her feelings away. I transferred 1 month before her wedding cause it was part of my rotation in my apprenticeship. I asked Beta and Copper what happened on her wedding day. Chillid Boss finally told her the truth by calling her on her wedding day. She was able to drop 1 size down but still had to get her dress refitted for her wedding. We don't know if she flipped out at her wedding or not cause no one went from that venue went. She did invite the staff and expected everyone to be there who wasn't working. She did call the owner to demand that Chillid Boss to be fired but since there was no evidence of this ever happening, he stayed. Toxic had a meltdown on the phone with the owner day of her wedding. Apparently this was the cherry on top cause the soon-to-be husband didn't want to go through with it cause it's been hell for him. Apparently was only in it for the visa. So wedding was called off and she quit by text message the next day. Oh, Junior had his job back few days after he was fired. Working in food industry for more than 10 years I've seen and heard so many revenge stories but this have to be my favorite.